Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting, Committee of Whole of Tuesday, September 3rd. We're going to start with the acknowledgement of treaties and of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by the acknowledgement that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship which Wolastoqey, Maliseet, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy people first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties didn't deal with the surrenders of lands and resources, but in fact recognized the Mi'kmaq and the Wolastoqey Maliseet title of the establishment, the rules for what was to be the ongoing relationship between the nations. Reaffirmation of the oath of office. I don't have that on my schedule here.
It should be attached.
Maybe below.
It should be the next
right
page
here.
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We do hereby accept the office of council and will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the office that be imposed upon us by law. The adoption of the agenda. Do I have someone to read the motion?
Motion M 2024-0903-81 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carried. If we have any statement of conflict of interest, please forward your form to the clerk treasurer, Angela. And the first thing we have on here is, and we don't have any presentation petitions and delegations. I guess I'm the first one to have something. It's regarding our get-together at the UMNB that we went on a couple of weeks ago. And again, it's the issues of the visibility of the RCMP, the ambulance, the waits, and the services that we're getting. They're working on trying to solve these problems. The by-election will be, when it's announced, will be forwarded the information to our CAO. It's supposed to be in December at some point. They talked about the UMNB conference, which is in October, and it's in Fredericton, and next year will be in St. John. As for the RCMP, we think that they're not around much, but they are around. Sometimes you just don't notice them, but I've seen them on our roads several times, and like often lately. But they're busy, and they have a big section to cover. So also there's a seminar or a session on September 19th. They encourage to have at least 4 counselors from each municipality to attend, and it's from 3 to 8. Also, Mayor Pelletier has represented the last time a letter concerning funding by NB Tourism. He proposed that the funding is divided evenly throughout the province because up in the north we didn't get a lot of money. So this is something that the UMNB, Dan Murphy, is looking into for the future funding for next year. A letter will be brought to the board There'll be a motion. Okay, and also at the seminar, there's going to be questions at the October 4th seminar. There's going to be questions that we can ask the RCMP. I emailed and I asked to get an appointment on it, so I'm hoping I didn't get a reply yet, so I'm hoping I do get a reply. And if you have any questions here on council, please don't hesitate to send them to me. Hopefully, I'll get a chance. If I don't get a time slot on the Friday, I'm hoping at least that I meet up with them at some point over the weekend. Thank you. The next thing we have here is Councillor McDonnell, Guitar McDonnell.
Good evening. This is for administration. I would just like to discuss with administration setting up a meeting between ourselves, our local fire department, and the head of the EMO in our region, so that we can sit down and finalize anything that needs to be finalized, or just have a discussion about where we are in our village on this matter.
Yeah, so it's been raised a couple times, so we'd already kind of got the ball rolling on that. We've been working on it for the last few weeks. So we do have a meeting scheduled at our next fire EMO meeting in October. So we haven't set the date yet, only because we want to make sure that EMO representatives are there. So just to remind council, we do have a new EMO coordinator, Mr. Carl Hashi. So he has come in and introduced himself very briefly, but he is eager to start these types of conversations. One of the things that we want to make sure that we touch on for that meeting, and it has been highlighted in Beldoon for, in the last couple months, is around power outages and prolonged power outages, and how we might be able to set up either, what we do to identify warming centers and what capacity needs to, that we have for arranging that. So that's one of the items that I think that Carl wants to touch on with council. And it's likely something that we may bring St. John's Ambulance into, or an entity like that to help us if there's something that we need to have here resource-wise, COTS or anything like that. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire there, but so I will provide a date for it, but tentatively right now we are aiming for October. Something else too that has come up is we are building files for training. So we have been able to get a little bit of information. We're still waiting for quite a bit more on training for administration, training for council, training for fire department. So we have made progress on that, but there is a bit more information that we're waiting for from EMO on that. But to give you an update on where we are with EMO, that's what we do have planned. And again, I'll move out the date when we establish that with the fire department and with EMO. I'll feed that out to council, so council is well aware.
Thank you for that information. We're on the administration part of it. It's bylaws and policy discussion. We have two of them here, mayor and council remuneration bylaw, 2024 draft, and the procurement policy 2024-0828 draft.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So I'm very happy to have this on the agenda. This is something that's been talked about for a long time in Beldoon, and there hasn't been a lot of progress made with progressing our bylaws and policies. It's always been kind of a hot topic, but it needs, there's quite a few that have been, that are kind of lacking and need to be updated. For the two that I have here, what we wanted to do, Angela and I had met on this, and these were one specifically, the mayor and council remuneration bylaw was sort of, it was kind of low-hanging fruit. There was a motion that was passed by council previously. However, the idea is that, which is great, that allows for us to execute on whatever that resolution is. However, the policy should be updated to reflect that. So that one was a very easy one. The sort of the framework that we wanted to introduce here was that when there is a policy that is prepared to go in front of council, we would like to bring it to a committee of whole meeting. It's not necessarily that we need to discuss it right here and flesh it out. However, it is a good opportunity that if there is any general level questions that council wants to ask, then maybe we can try to help fill in the blanks. But ultimately, what would be great is if council takes takes a look at the proposed changes that are made in those policies. And if there is feedback, to get back to administration through email. So we've got something kind of in writing that we can go by. So all we wanted to do here was kind of bring council up to speed that there is a couple policies that we are working on internally. And we have those there for council's review. Ideally, if there's not a whole lot of changes to it, we simply move these from the committee of whole agenda to the regular council meeting agenda, which of course is where bylaws and amendments and policies can be updated. So if there is any specific questions on this, feel free to let me know. But again, we are looking for any type of feedback on those policies from council. Let us know. And if it is, like I said, if there's really not a whole lot that comes back, we can simply take those policies and move those to the regular council meetings.
So I would like information on per diems and what other municipalities are paying. I know you had sent an email out indicating that Beldoon is paying the highest per diem or one of in the province. So I would like to know what other municipalities are paying, because I think $300 is a lot as a per diem for attending conferences, workshops, whatever. So I'd really like to look at that section of the policy.
And just to touch on that briefly, yeah, so we actually do have some pretty good examples. So there has been, a lot of other communities that we're speaking with are going through the same process. All municipalities are always trying to, progress their policies. Really, ultimately, what council is in place to do. So we do have some great examples there. That's no problem, Cynthia. I can actually put that together pretty quick. And it was pointed out to us that council's salary in Beldoon is actually comparatively, it's relatively low to the other communities. So there was an understanding when we were going through it, okay, perhaps the per diem sort of makes up for that, but that's no problem. We can get that information off to council with all the different municipalities and sort of the numbers that we have accumulated.
I think those are completely different things. Council salaries and a per diem for attending workshops or whatever, I think are completely separate issues. And I have no issue with what I'm being paid as a councillor, but I think the per diem is high and should be looked at.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that have something on this? Now we'll go to the clerk treasurer budget discussion.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I really don't have a whole lot on this. I just sort of wanted to bring it up, remind everybody we're coming into budget season. So it's time to kind of start thinking about, hopefully going to start preparing something in the next few weeks to get the ball rolling. And there's a lot of things we don't have control over. I mean, there's certain costs that are being passed on to us that we have to include in the budget. But just to sort of keep in mind, if there's any projects that you guys are thinking about for next year, I think that salary increases probably fall under you guys. Any amounts you want taken from the capital reserve, anything like that. So it's kind of time to just sort of start thinking about those things, because it will be coming up probably in the next few weeks to a month that we'll probably start having some budget meetings, because I don't really want to leave it too long. I'd like to start as soon as possible.
Thank you, Angela. I believe that the end date for the budget is November 15th, if that hasn't changed. So yeah, normally we should be starting our budget meetings fairly soon. Yes, thank you. Now we have a motion for a closed session. May I have a mover?
M 2024-08-29-82. Be resolved that council continue its meeting in a closed session to discuss a matter under 68(1)(f) of the Local Governance Act, to discuss information concerning legal options or advice provided to the local government by its solicitor or privileged communications between solicitor and the client in a matter of local government business.
Do I have a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Thank you for your patience. And now, do we have a mover to adjourn the meeting?
M 2024-0903-83, that the meeting adjourn at 7:19.
Do I have a seconder?
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you.